Hello guys, welcome back to our anime moment. Guys, please like the video and subscribe to my channel. Today is explanation of Renegade Immortal episode number 508 based on novel. So let's start. However, this required a certain price, and Wang Lin was calculating if the price was worth it. Was the old man's memory worth Wang Lin doing whatever it took? He silently pondered, and in his mind, images of his life appeared. Moments when he suspected the world, until the day he found out that his own world was just a cave. I want to know the reason for all of this, the truth about this cave. Wang Lin's eyes were filled with determination as closed them. A moment later, he suddenly opened his eyes, and his 7 ancient god stars started rotating rapidly. The ancient demon and ancient devil stars in his left and right eyes also rotated. Soon, starlight surrounded his body. The ancient god, ancient demon, and ancient devil energies filled Wang Lin's body. His origin soul seemed to turn corporeal and began to distort. Behind him, the shadow of an ancient god slowly formed. To the left, an ancient devil shadow appeared, and to the right, an ancient demon shadow appeared. This was the first time the 3 ancient clans had appeared behind Wang Lin at the same time. This meant that the auras of these 3 clans were moving through his origin soul. Behind the shadows of these 3 clans was the giant head of the Ancient One. The ancient head hid the sky and covered the earth. Wang Lin's origin soul rapidly expanded. However, before it completely expanded, Wang Lin compressed it, causing thunderous rumbles to echo in his body. After suppressing it for a long time, Wang Lin's body maintained its original size, but now his body contained the shocking power of the ancient clans. With this power, Wang Lin's recovery ability had reached a terrifying degree, but he wasn't satisfied. According to his analysis, this amount of recovery was not enough to break through the 3-inch barrier outside the middle-aged man's body. With a roar, Wang Lin gathered all his ancient power in his right index finger. His right index finger gave off a terrifying aura that could shake the ancient celestial realm. With this aura, this finger could be considered an immortal finger. This was the 7th origin spell he comprehended during his dream Dao, Ancient Immortal Finger. The Ancient Immortal Finger condensed the power of the 3 ancient clans into one finger. While it possessed a terrifying offensive power, it also had a terrifying recovery ability. This amount of recovery force could be called immortal by Wang Lin. This was enough to show how terrifying it was. Immortal meant that the recovery force could offset all destruction from the heavens and earth. Only then could it be considered immortal. With Wang Lin's cultivation level, he couldn't make this entire body immortal, he could only make one finger become immortal. This ancient immortal finger was a powerful spell he had comprehended by borrowing what he had experienced in his immortal celestial body. It didn't need celestial energy, all it needed was ancient power, but its effect was no weaker than the immortal celestial body. Wang Lin stared at the middle-aged man not far away and looked at the 7-colored light. There was a flash of coldness in Wang Lin's eyes as he stepped forward and his ancient immortal finger shot toward the area between the middle-aged man's eyebrows. This point looked slow, but it was as fast as lightning. In an instant, his finger was 3 inches away from the middle-aged man. Wang Lin's finger began to collapse and disintegrate at a terrifying rate. If it was before, this collapse would be irreversible. No power or matter could get within 3 inches of the middle-aged man. However, at this moment, Wang Lin's finger recovered like crazy as it collapsed. The recovery was very much visible with this rapid collapse. You could see Wang Lin's finger reforming as it collapsed. The 3-inch distance was very short, but for Wang Lin, it felt extremely long. His finger continued to collapse and recover, the cycle was endless. As Wang Lin's finger pushed further past the 3-inch barrier, the collapse became even more intense. In almost an instant, his finger would collapse 100,000, a million, 10 million times, but in turn, it would recover 100,000, a million, 10 million times. This was the ancient immortal finger. This recovery could no longer be classified as a spell, this was something that should not exist in this world. The further he went, the more terrifying the collapse was. When Wang Lin's finger was almost 3 inches in and touching the area between the middle-aged man's eyebrows, the rate of collapse was already indescribable. In the end, Wang Lin's recovery rate had exceeded the rate of collapse and his finger completely recovered. He ignored the terrifying collapsing force and his finger landed between the eyebrows of the middle-aged man. A thunderous rumble that swept through the old man's body echoed. It contained enough power to destroy a planet, and it had erupted from Wang Lin's finger and the middle-aged man at the same time. Thunderous rumbles echoed and shook the surrounding area. The fog around Wang Lin's origin soul collapsed and the thunderous rumble caused the old man's mind to also collapse. This affected the old man's body, and his body began to collapse as well. The middle-aged man releasing the seven-colored light trembled. Under this powerful force, his body became distorted and slowly dissipated. As his body disappeared, a golden crystal the size of a fist appeared. Fine cracks appeared on it and it was about to collapse. This crystal was the memory of the old man. The seal was too domineering. Not only did it prevent others from searching the memory, but once it was broken, it would shatter the memory so the person searching couldn't obtain it. It was a very well-calculated plan, but unfortunately, this was Wang Lin. Not only did Wang Lin have the ancient immortal finger that could counter the collapsing force, he also had the stop spell. At this critical moment, Wang Lin didn't hesitate. His extended right index finger and pointed at the memory crystal. Stop! With one word, the collapsing memory crystal paused. At this moment, Wang Lin's divine sense swept through the memory crystal and then rushed out from the old man's collapsing mind, returning into his body. The moment his origin soul returned to his body, he raised his right hand from the screaming old man's forehead. He retreated back several steps. When he retreated, the old man's miserable scream reached a limit. Thunderous rumbles came from his body and he began to collapse from the inside. The power from his mind destroyed his mind, killed his origin soul, crushed his bones, ripped open his flesh, and erupted outward. The old man's body was torn apart by the power erupting from his body, and as his flesh and blood dissipated, a powerful impact spread in all directions. The power of this impact shattered the surrounding statues Wang Lin hadn't destroyed yet. Some of them had celestials healing inside as well, but they didn't even get to open their eyes before the impact killed them in their sleep. This shockwave was the collision of Wang Lin's ancient power and celestial power. This also included the power of the seal from the seven-colored middle-aged man. This destructive force was powerful enough to shake the world. The moment the old man's body exploded, deep inside the ancient celestial realm, where the four towering statues were, the white tiger let out a roar filled with disbelief, shock, and terror. This is impossible. How did he do it? How did he break the celestial sovereign's seal? The 3 inches of that seal have enough power to destroy everything. There is no way to harm it at all. All spell will disintegrate before it. How could he break a seal like that? Even when we were at our peak, we couldn't break it. As the sound came from the vortex, a white-haired old man leaned out, and his face was filled with shock. The other 3 were also shocked. Since ancient times, I had never heard of anyone breaking the celestial sovereign's seal. Even the other powerful sovereigns on the immortal astral continent would find it extremely difficult to break. After all, this is a spell created by the celestial sovereign, and it is the ultimate method of protecting the secrets of the core disciples of my 7 Tao sect. He is only a lower realm but he was actually able to break it. In the other statue, the black tortoise walked out with horror and disbelief in his eyes. If he hadn't witnessed it with his own divine sense, he wouldn't believe it was real. This child is not ordinary. We need to change our plan for this person. The fact that he can break the celestial sovereign's seal means he has a shocking spell. Such a spell would even be enough to shock the celestial immortal continent. An old man walked out from the vortex in the 3rd statue. He looked into the distance and gasped. The vermilion bird didn't speak. He looked at the world inside the vortex and his expression continued to change. As the old man collapsed, Wang Lin retreated from the erupting force. His expression remained calm as he looked into the distance and revealed a sneer. They were able to see him, but Wang Lin had also long sensed their presence. Wang Lin withdrew his gaze. His ancient immortal finger would point forward several times, and every time he pointed, the impact would dissipate a bit. His index finger continued to collapse and regenerate until he ripped open a gap in the shockwave. Wang Lin walked out from that gap. As the impact swept by, everything within millions of kilometers became a complete ruin. The rumble continued for a long time before it slowly dissipated. Now it sounded like a muffled thunder coming from the distance. Wang Lin floated into the sky and looked down at the earth that had become a ruin. The gust of dust formed a storm that covered the earth. His white hair fluttered and his clothes flapped, but he was extremely calm. He gave off the grace a third-step mid-stage spirit void cultivator should have. He waved his right hand and light golden crystal covered in cracks appeared in his hand. This crystal contained the memories of the old man's entire life. However, these memories couldn't check with divine sense. Even if Wang Lin's cultivation level was higher, he still wouldn't be able to see the old man's memories. A celestial's memories could only be looked at by someone with the celestial bloodline. This was a hidden restriction, and even though Wang Lin was of the ancient clan, he still couldn't view it. This was a difference in level, just like how if an ant were to obtain the memory of an elephant, the ant wouldn't be able to comprehend it. However, Wang Lin was different. He had the golden drop of celestial blood that was his immortal celestial body. Even on the immortal astral continent, it was extremely pure. With this blood, Wang Lin could look at the memories as easily as reading a book. The moment he closed his eyes, he seemed to enter a fantasy world. He saw a strange continent. This continent was extremely wide, and even the owner of the memories had never seen the end of the continent. The furthest the owner of the memories went had been about several inner and outer realms of distance, but that was less than 1/10,000th of the continent. The most dazzling thing on this continent was the 9 suns in the sky. These 9 suns hung in the sky and their light shrouded the earth. After absorbing the old man's memories, when Wang Lin saw the 9 suns, he found a memory that held an ancient legend. The legend was that the 9 suns on the immortal astral continent represented the 9 Grand Empyrean. Even the old man's master, the person from the 7-colored statue, hadn't reached this level. Legend had it that 9 was the limit. It was said that if a 10th sun appeared, the immortal astral continent would undergo endless calamity. The old man was born on this continent. As he grew up, he entered a sect. It was called the 7 Tao sect. The 7 Tao sect's masters were a Tao couple. One of them was the person from the 7-colored statue. He was called the 7-colored celestial sovereign. His cultivation was mysterious. He had established his own sect, and had gathered a lot of disciples. Over the tens of thousands of years since the sect was founded, the sect faced many crises. But in the end, the danger was diffused by the Tao couple, and they slowly became famous in the region. As time passed, the old man eventually became one of the 100 soldier celestials, a powerful expert in the 7 Tao sect. He was only below the vermilion bird, azure dragon, white tiger, and black tortoise. His status was very high, and he could obtain any laws and pills he wanted. Until one day. In this old man's memory, glaring light came from outside the 7 Tao sect. An aura that terrified even him shrouded the land. Under this pressure, 2 suns that shouldn't appear at night appeared before the frightened old man. The 2 suns that had suddenly appeared in the night gave off endless light. The old man trembled and remembered this scene profoundly. He remembered the legend and what the sun represented. While feeling endless fear, he heard rumbles and roars that caused his orifices to bleed. His mind trembled and he passed out. The moment before he passed out, he sensed the sect master and his Tao partner charge out toward where he 2 suns would be colliding. It wasn't until several days later that the old man awakened. He bitterly found that his cultivation had fallen a few levels. A few months later, the 7 Tao sect's master returned alone. Although his expression was gloomy, his eyes were bright. The 7-colored celestial sovereign didn't mention where his Tao partner had gone. Instead, he took some of his disciples, several celestial imperial concubines, the 100 soldiers, and the 4 generals into the cave. He sealed the cave and left countless seal marks on it. He even took out some treasures the owner of the memory had never seen to seal the cave. The memory became fragmented due to the cracks on the crystal. The memories were broken and existed like fragments. However, Wang Lin saw a woman inside a memory fragment. She wore a silver dress and was one of the celestial sovereign's maids. Wang Lin was familiar with this woman. When he saw her, he gradually formed a clear connection with the past. This woman was the silver female corpse inside Wang Lin's storage space that was afraid of the seven-colored statue. In another memory fragment, Wang Lin saw the seven-colored celestial sovereign, also known as the ancient celestial emperor by the inner realm. He was the same as the seven-colored statue. He brought everyone to the cave and sealed the entrance and exit. He then left and went off to do something. The celestial imperial concubines, soldiers, and 4 generals didn't know what the celestial sovereign was doing. However, no one dared to inquire, so they all found a place to go into closed-door cultivation and waited for the celestial sovereign to summon them. Until one day, a gloomy voice came outside the cave. This voice awakened everyone that was cultivating and waiting for their master. Seven-colored Tao sovereign, you went as far as to leave behind your own Tao partner, so you must have obtained a great treasure. You left clues to lure me here. This ancient one wants to see what kind of tricks you have up your sleeve. The old man was unfamiliar with this voice, but the voice contained a powerful pressure. The old man's mind trembled and he opened his eyes. What he heard next caused him to feel extreme fear. Ancient One Yi Mo. I invited you here, but you say it is a trick. Whether it's a trick or not, you will know when you see it. The old man knew the name of Ancient One Yi Mo very well. As a sovereign of the ancient country, Ancient One Yi Mo was very famous. What happened next was a break in the memory, so Wang Lin didn't see what happened. What Wang Lin saw was the last memory fragment. In that memory fragment, he saw a chaotic battle. But it was blurry, so he couldn't see who was participating in the battle at all. He could only see that the 100 guards, 4 generals, and several celestial imperial concubines were all attacking 3 people. Those 3 people were a complete blur and the golden light was glaring, making it impossible to clearly see who it was. The battle lasted for a long time until many people had died. One of the 3 released a powerful golden light and laughed. He swept the people of the 7 Tao sect away and charged at a stone door. This king personally came. Little 7-colored sovereign, you still haven't come out and kneeled before me. The laugh echoed from the man covered in the golden light, but Wang Lin's mind trembled when he heard this voice. Just as he closed in on the stone door, a monstrous roar came from the stone door. The memory ended here. Wang Lin suddenly opened his eyes and the memory crystal he had pressed against his forehead collapsed into powder and disappeared with the wind. The madman's voice. Wang Lin took a deep breath and his divine sense entered his storage space. He saw that the madman was still sleeping and had a silly smile on his face. While pondering, Wang Lin had a gloomy expression. The memories had helped him resolve a lot of questions but also raised more doubt. I know about Ancient One Yi Mo and I also had some speculations about the madman arriving. In addition, the woman in silver said it wasn't her who had opened the door. Could this door be the door the madman entered through? The result of that war was the madman losing his mind and going insane. The ancient celestial realm became a ruin and the remnants of the 7 Tao sect all went into closed-door cultivation. The master of the cave, the sect master of the 7 Tao sect, the 7-colored celestial sovereign, was also seriously injured. It is unknown if that is true or not. If it is true, then what they were fighting for may be the so-called heavenly Tao, or the heaven-defying bead. What is the relationship between the heaven-defying bead and the heavenly Tao? The heaven-defying bead is part of a compass treasure, so it is unlikely to be the heavenly Tao. What is it and where did it come from? Wang Lin frowned and his eyes lit up. Also, I knew from the Scattered Thunder clan that years after the war, a group of mysterious foreign cultivators appeared in the outer realm. The Soul Lasher was one of their weapons. Who are these people? Wang Lin vaguely had a feeling that he had lifted a veil and was getting close to the answer of what happened countless years ago. If the 7-colored celestial sovereign was seriously injured and forced into closed-door cultivation, then who was the 7-colored Daoist I saw in the brilliant void 7-colored realm? Wang Lin rubbed his temples and no longer thought about these messy things. He looked into the distance at the 4 auras far away. In truth, he had felt these auras when he first entered the ancient celestial realm. The reason he came here, aside from destroying the statues, was to meet the one familiar aura among the 4. He also understood some things. He was going to find the person he was familiar with and make a deal. He stepped forward and walked toward the depths of the ancient celestial realm. He rushed forward, and after traversing millions of kilometers, he waved his sleeves. A storm swept across the remaining statues of the three ancient clans outside of the destroyed area. Thunderous rumbles echoed and those statues collapsed one by one. Wang Lin didn't stop and continued moving forward with a gloomy expression. The statues on the earth continued to collapse, and some of the healing celestials awakened. They quickly appeared and retreated. In a flash, 7 or 8 celestials appeared around Wang Lin. They gave off a golden light and their eyes were filled with anger. They stared at Wang Lin, but none of them spoke. Wang Lin didn't even look at them. These people might have been powerful before, but they couldn't arouse his interest now. When he thought about how difficult it was to search their souls, Wang Lin gave up the idea and allowed them to follow far behind him. However, if anyone dared to attack him, Wang Lin wouldn't mind killing some celestials. In fact, Wang Lin hadn't killed enough. If not for the fact that he had other plans, these people would have no chance surviving before Wang Lin. While moving forward, 4 giant statues slowly appeared before Wang Lin. These 4 statues were as tall as heaven itself. They looked like 4 heaven-piercing mountains. There were endless amounts of statues of the 3 ancient clans behind these 4. They went as far as the eyes could see. There was a vortex slowly rotating between the eyebrows of each of the 4 statues. Wang Lin's gaze swept over them and he felt for tyrannical auras inside. Wang Lin was extremely familiar with one of the 4 auras. That aura came from the vermilion bird. This aura felt like the ancestor of the vermilion bird. Wang Lin had the same feeling when he saw the first-generation vermilion bird in the fallen land. Vermilion bird, Wang Lin's eyes narrowed. The aura from one of statues was almost exactly the same as the aura from the first-generation vermilion bird from the fallen land. It was obvious one of them was an avatar. 7-colored celestial sovereigns vermilion bird general, come and see me. Wang Lin stopped and floated in the air as he spoke. His voice was calm and spread in all directions. He stood there and gave off a powerful pressure, as if the heavens themselves had to be below his feet. As Wang Lin's words echoed, everything was quiet. The 7 or 8 celestials that had followed him over stopped and looked at him with cold gazes. What an arrogant little doll. You destroyed a lot of embryos on your way here and killed several of my celestials. You are a descendant of the vermilion bird, and such actions are already considered greatly evil. This old man White Tiger will teach you a lesson on behalf of the vermilion bird. A gloomy voice broke the silence and an old man in white walked out from one of the vortexes. His face was filled with wrinkles and his body emanated an ancient aura. With one step, he left the vortex from the statue and charged at Wang Lin. He was very fast and created a howl with this movement. This howl was like a fierce tiger roaring. In Wang Lin's field of view, a giant shadow as long as the world itself appeared behind the old man. The shadow was a giant white tiger. This giant tiger had a fierce gaze and gave off a pressure that could suppress the world. The old man gave off a powerful cultivation of mid-stage arcane void. Wang Lin's expression remained calm as he looked at the old man. His right hand formed a fist and threw a punch at the old man. When they collided, a thunderous rumble echoed and caused the earth to tremble. In the end, the white-haired old man was forced back several steps. His eyes were now filled with dread. Wang Lin's body flickered. He didn't retreat but calmly looked at the old man and slowly said, "If your injuries were fully recovered, you'd be able to fight me, but right now you're not my match. If you take one more step, I'll kill you." Wang Lin's voice was very light. It was not as cold as the wind nor did it contain any killing intent. He was just calmly stating the facts. When his voice entered the white-haired old man's ears, the old man silently pondered. The attacks just now by both of them were merely a test, and the shock the old man felt made him dread Wang Lin even more. However, he was unable to retreat just because Wang Lin had told him to. At this moment, he clenched his teeth and was about to step forward. Just as he was about to step forward, Wang Lin's calm gaze met the old man's gaze. The white-haired old man's mind trembled and he subconsciously withdrew his step. The more calm Wang Lin's gaze was, the more pressure the old man felt. I don't want to kill you. There is nothing surprising about the ancient celestial realm in my opinion. Just a group of crippled cultivators from the immortal astral continent calling yourselves celestial in this cave and controlling the so-called lower realm ants. It is simply ridiculous. In my eyes, all of you are like ants as well. The old man's expression became even more gloomy. He was not surprised Wang Lin knew this, as he watched Wang Lin check the memory of that celestial. Originally, he sneered in his heart. He understood the celestial sovereign very well, and in his view, no one could break his seal. However, he never could have expected Wang Lin to actually open the seal, access the memories of the soldier celestial, and see the truth about this place. This was what caused the white tiger to feel fear. It was also this that caused unspeakable fear to appear in his heart. Wang Lin didn't look at the white-haired old man. His gaze turned to the vortex between the eyebrows of the second statue. He slowly said, "Vermilion bird, come out to see me. This is the last time I ask. Don't wait for me to kill you and search your soul." Wang Lin stood there and calmly looked at the sky. An invisible pressure spread out from his body and shrouded the area. This video will end here.